veterans and their families, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen. In a nation's history, great events, whether in peace or war, live on in our memories. We remember them not necessarily for what they achieved, nor for whether they were victories or defeats. Rather, we remember them for the quality of the human endeavour, for the extraordinary deeds by men and women, and for the examples and the legends that inspire us today. And so it is with ANZAC Day. In the dawn of April the 25th, 1915, the first wave of 1,500 troops from the Australian 3rd Brigade landed at the beach we now know as ANZAC Cove. The first of almost 60,000 Australian and New Zealand troops to participate in the Gallipoli campaign. On this day, and in the months to come, the Anzacs demonstrated the best of Australia. They faced their terrifying ordeal with courage, camaraderie and honour, and they did not shirk their duty. The bloody and bitterly fought campaign for possession of the Gallipoli Peninsula lasted for 8 long months. The troops endured constant danger, deprivation and the extremes of weather. Over 250,000 soldiers from Turkish and Allied forces were killed or wounded. 8,709 Australians were killed in action or died of wounds or disease at Gallipoli. 2,721 New Zealanders were killed in action or died of wounds or disease, which equates to almost 1 in every 3 New Zealanders who participated in the Gallipoli operation. As terrible as these casualty numbers were, they are only a small portion of the sailors, soldiers and airmen and women who have since died in our nation's service. We honour their sacrifice today. Many people here this morning have served in conflict, and we pay tribute to their sacrifices in the past. The courageous efforts of the Anzacs are echoed in the selfless efforts of generations of defence personnel. We remember and honour those who served and those who died in the air, in the muddy trenches and in the lonely seas and oceans. The challenges of operations for Navy, Army and Air Force personnel might differ in the way that they are conducted, but the characteristics of the people, courage, mateship, service and sacrifice, these characteristics do not change. That is why nearly a century after the events at Gallipoli, they can continue to inspire us. It's also important to remember and honour the family and friends of those who served. They gave up their relationships. They supported and loved service people, and for many, their loss is enduring. World War II veterans are especially in our thoughts today, as the range of 70th anniversaries which have happened in the past years and in the future years of battles fought over a 5-year period from 1940 to 1945 remind us of the extent of that conflict. In 2013, the 70th anniversary of the Burma-Thailand Railway, we particularly remember those as well, and we honour those who were prisoners of war. Australia's current Navy, Army and Air Force personnel always aim to live up to the standards of service set by the Anzacs. As we speak, there are about 3,000 deployed personnel on operations around the world, from South Sudan and Egypt to the Middle East, through to our region in Southeast Asia and the Pacific. I would like to make special mention of this city's namesake, HMAS Toowoomba, an ANZAC-class frigate presently deployed to the Middle East. They are conducting operations against pirates, drug smugglers and insurgents in areas ranging from the northern areas of the Red Sea to the eastern fringe of the Arabian Sea, and they are doing a fine job. The commanding officer of Toowoomba has asked me to note the service on board of several personnel who hail from this area and have family here. They are Able Seaman Geoffrey Hayes, Leading Seaman Todd Grieve, Leading Seaman Brad Barr and Lieutenant Neil Partridge. I'm very happy to honour these people and all of our Defence Force personnel serving overseas today. They are carrying the ANZAC tradition forward. 2013 is also a particularly significant year for the Australian Defence Force and the Navy as we celebrate the centenary of the arrival of Australian Navy's first fleet units. Those units saw action almost immediately at the outbreak of the First World War, securing Australian and regional waters and escorting our troops overseas. As a national celebration of the arrival of those fleet units 100 years ago, in October this year there will be an international fleet review in Sydney. And so today, at this dawn service, we remember with gratitude all those who have served. We commemorate all those who have paid the ultimate sacrifice, and regardless if they are buried in Australia, overseas, or in unmarked places on earth or at sea, we remember them and their families. Their actions displayed extraordinary devotion and were in keeping with the finest traditions of Australia, demonstrated so clearly on ANZAC Day 98 years ago through to today, lest we forget.
Us to be challenged by their love, devotion and selflessness. Help us to sacrifice some of our pleasure, greed and interests for the sake of our families, our country and those in need beyond our shores. I invite you now to join in the hymn, Abide With Me.
The Lament, The Flowers of the Forest, will be played this morning by Pipe Major Darrell Thompson of the Toowoomba Caledonian Pipe Band. Will the Assembly please come to attention, Bandmaster? Mr. Thompson? The Assembly will turn to face the east.
Parade! We'll retire! Hey, go! Cut!
1 minute silence.
Short days ago, we lived, felt dawn, saw sunset glow, loved and were loved, and were planted
Australians, all let us rejoice, for we are young and free. We've gold and soil and wealth for toil. Our home is good by sea. Our land abounds in nature's gifts. Our